So men have changed the world, and women too. And that means that we are so many people now that every 5 years or so we become a half billion more people. Or every 10 years or less than 10 years we become another billion people. And all those billion people need to be fed, and all those billion people need water, and all those billion people release heat, and so on. And that means we've changed our planet, we've changed our world, and it's a finite place. There isn't a lot of this and there isn't a lot of that anymore. Men have ransacked it all, or humanity has ransacked it all. And they've raped everything they possibly could to take it as fast and as easy and as efficiently as they possibly could, so that they could sell it for more and more and more, and take whatever they wanted and claim themselves to be rich. Well, part of that, of course, is going on vacation and what have you, so that you can prove that you're rich. Got to have a trophy, you know. And jet plane means that for a large airplane flying from New York to Los Angeles, they're going to burn about 37,000 pounds of fuel. That's 5 billion BTUs of heat. And so every single passenger on there is responsible for releasing in their 5-hour flight, I think it's about 100 million BTU each. So you figure it out. Can it work? No. And the airplane, a jet plane, flies in the ozone layer, because the ozone is what they burn with the fuel. So our ozone layer is nearly gone. And when it's gone, of course, we're going to end up with more radiation than the body is meant to handle. And that means we're going to get sores and all kinds of things that are responsible for that. Radiation poisoning is a real thing. It's not a guess, it's not a game. Just like global warming is not a guess, nor is it a game, it is an insanity. Because while you look for every possible excuse not to change your ways and protect this world, the fact of the matter is it is insane to destroy the world. It is insane not to do everything you can to protect life and nature and world and child and everything else that we require as life on Earth survives. You know, you just throw it all away on a simple excuse as the university doesn't make us do it, media doesn't make us do it, so we don't have to do it. But the fact of the matter is, every single threat that we face, every single threat of extinction, and there are very many, that all of it is due to the fact that the university rules. What part of this society in America does not a university diploma decide what is going to come up next? They rule everything. So we're going to say that the university is responsible for most of it. And of course the university is mutilating nature and everything they do, claiming that it's just evolution. They can ruin nature, they can do anything they want to, they can inject chaos, they can do anything, because nature is just chaos. And of course that's an outright lie, and has no basis in fact whatsoever. You should look at their evidence. It isn't, but even an insect would know these are liars. This is no proof of any kind. Liars, just liars, and thieves, stealing from you your eternity. It's a big thing, after all. Phew. But nonetheless, our point of the matter here is that we have to change our ways. We have to change this world. You have to accept the fact that the world is not the place that it used to be. It's not. We stand as almost 9 billion people now as one person on every acre of agricultural land. One person on every acre of the world's claim of agricultural lands, and not every acre produces a crop. And of course you have ransacked the ocean to avoid any change to make things better. And of course now the ocean life itself is in trouble and about to go extinct, whether you believe it or not, because you can go and look at the nature shows, but they're not today's nature. It's, you know, maybe 30, 40, 50 years in the past nature, or the sea creatures and what have you. They just lie to you. And they lie and they lie and they lie. And of course weapons of mass destruction are not your saviors. If they release one, they release them all. And in biological weapons such as COVID, which was released to try to avoid the problem of overpopulation, going to kill you off. But of course it didn't work quite the way they had in mind. So they just stole trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars from the entire world and made you their slaves. Because after all, leaders don't get to decide whether the university is a religion or not. And the university cannot say what is right and what is wrong, and they are not experts, or otherwise we would not be facing extinction in 10,000 different ways. We're facing extinction. That's a big thing. And we're killing off the future, which means you're assassinating every child, your child too. Assassinating them, because there will be no resources left. Without resources, it's a desert. And how many people can support a desert support? Very, very few. So you're looking at weapons of mass destruction and world law as opposed to armies, and of course leaders don't like that. They want armies instead because that's where the power is. I have power, I'm the king, whatever. But it has to be world law. And no more leaders decide, law decides, and international policing to enforce that. You have to do that or you're going to die. You're going to be extinct. You have to do that. And of course then there's limited capitalism as well, because we cannot let the rich people play rich people anymore. That doesn't mean they get to be poor. That just means they don't get to be billionaires. Because the end result is that we all have needs, we all have things we do for work and what have you, and we all have equal rights. Life is the important part. Limited capitalism means that we're going to vote on the limits of income, the limits of poverty, and the boundary line of how much property can you actually own, because we don't have to allow money to decide. We do not have to allow this. This is what men did do. And of course, when the earth was not full of people and every resource was not attacked to continue as you are now, it could be. But of course the resources have been attacked, and you have mountains of garbage which are thrown away, resources, because you didn't care, and now the future is dead because of you, because this is not going to be sustainable. Nothing is going to be sustainable, including the way you make crops, because you're running out of fertilizer. They did find some potash lately, but phosphorus has no replacement for that. And there was only one large site found. So it's going to run out. And you're changing the weather patterns because of global warming, and of course then the oceans are changing, and the ice flows that are clearly visible and clearly demonstrate the evidence of what is or is not happening with global warming, because it's not just you, it's an entire world we're looking at. And of course, a lot of life that starts a living chain in the ocean starts on the bottom of an ice floe in the ocean. That's where it starts. It feeds a whole lots of the ocean. And of course, without the ice, there is no food. Without food, there is no life. And then, of course, we get to the people who claim that they can have fusion, and that's what the sun does. Fusion is an absolute lie, like evolution. It's an absolute lie, and it doesn't work at all. They say that they can combine 2 atoms of hydrogen to create helium. But there is no helium coming off of the sun. And if that was actual fusion up there, the space would be full of helium. It's a rare earth element. So we know that doesn't work. And they proved it doesn't work in 2012. At Lawrence Livermore Laboratories in San Francisco, where they tried with their 180 lasers and I forget 100 million BTUs of heat or whatever it is. I don't remember, but they proved that their claim of fusion was a lie, and they continue on anyway because power and pride and all want the money. They want the power to say, oh, we're gonna do it, but of course they can't. And what they are doing is trying to ignite atoms on fire, which is what their tokamak reactors can do. They can do that. And if they do that, then we get the very same thing as is what's on the sun here on Earth, which we cannot extinguish. That the fire is where the solar gravity comes from. And of course, being wrong means the world is dead. Earth becomes the sun, because the same thing that happens there happens here. Or in other words, atoms are the fuel for that fire. We know that because nothing else can do it. We know it. And of course, the crap hole disease that is a university claims that, well, it's just magic. It's just magic. But of course, it's not magic. It's reality, and the reality is it's a nuclear fire, and there cannot be anything else. It is a nuclear fire, and we cannot survive the radiation, even if we could survive the fire. It's a lie. Just another plain lie, and of course it takes the whole world with it. One ignition, and there are 130 major experiments going on. Trillions and trillions of dollars spent to try to ignite a nuclear fire here on Earth, because they believe that this is going to solve all the problems of global warming. But of course it's not going to solve any of the problems of global warming. We have to stop releasing heat. We have to stop generating heat. They want to make more heat with nuclear fire. But of course, the end result is it's not greenhouse gases that overheat this Earth. It's the amount of heat we release. That's the facts. It's the amount of heat release. And we do need greenhouse gases to trap and heat and control the temperatures, so there's not wide variations, which of course there would be. And we need to have, the oxygen that we burn. It matters, because you get the stupidity of everybody that's involved in university is just tremendous. They claim that too much oxygen and we'll never burn it all. But if we burn just a little bit so that the percentage of oxygen drops, it's like living on a mountain from that point on. Living on top of a mountain, you can't do it. Not very well. A lot of people can't do it at all. So it's a different world. It's a changed world. It's a university-led world. And the university says, no, we can't do it. Because the end result is that, like their science papers say, the ignition of atoms on fire means a 4 million times increase in the amount of heat released. 4 million times. Don't bother with their advertising to keep you away from the reality of truth that they want to hide. Look in their science papers, and they claim it's 4 million times more, which means that a candle flame upon nuclear ignition becomes 62 miles high. Think about that for a second. A candle flame upon nuclear transfer of BTUs becomes 62 miles high. Think about that. Think about that. Use your brain. You have one. It's got to be in there somewhere. I know it is. Find it. So anyway, it's a changed world. You can't keep going with destroying every resource and throwing it away in the garbage. You can't keep going with, we don't care. We have world population increases anyway. You can't do it because there won't be any water, and you'll war for water. You'll war for food. You'll be cannibals because there is no food. You will cause extinction from every form of life on Earth because you're trying to avoid starvation. And in the end, there's nothing left but war and hell. Literal hell. No hope left. So find your brain. You look for it somewhere. I know that the university stole it from you by making you a cult follower. Because, just believe in us. Believe, believe, believe. But the end result, of course, is that you need to wake up. You need to identify what is or is not true. You need to search for the evidence and find out what is the future going to be if we don't change. And of course the future is hell. and the mutilation of nature is catastrophe from every direction. The end of life on Earth. It's a horrifying thing. Horrifying. And of course, the university says, we are God. Believe us. But they're not. They're just Satan. So wake up. Accept the fact that the world has changed. And change with it, or you're going to go extinct. It's back to life. It's back to numbers. Well, so what? You have numbers. It's just numbers. Not money. Money is wealth. And people who do the work for you. That's what money is. It's not a number. Think about it. It's your life too. You have a right to have redress, which means we decide now.